Oh, this thing started without me even like doing. I think I waved my hand. My phone has a feature where I wave my hand and it like starts the video. Oh shit. Okay. Anyway, whatever. Like I'm back. I wanted one more thing I wanted to talk about is about the eldest daughters, or just children that were kind of scapegoats, in their family, children that were the scapegoats, the black sheep, um, those type of people, who are now, and I am so excited that I'm seeing more of this, who are now changing the dynamic. They are not passing the negative, um, I guess the baggage and all that crap. They're not passing it on to their kids, and that makes me so freaking happy. Like that makes me so happy. Um, and I'm one of those people. Like there's things that I've unlearned. There's things that I have in my journey as a parent. Like, um, there are things that I refuse to put my kids through. So, um, where I was sitting here, like I think when I woke up, like after I woke up, I was sitting here like just like feeling like mad because, well, not really mad, but just like thinking like just shaking my head at how, like, families expect eldest daughters to, just sacrifice, to be sacrificial, and even sacrifice. Oh, I'm about to get rowdy about this, okay? Even to sacrifice for deadbeat dads that were not in their lives, and I think this applies to a lot of people, men or women, doesn't matter. But or eldest kids, period. I feel like there are a lot of elder children who, or even only children who are expected to sacrifice and to bend over backwards and sacrifice their own well-being and their own, freedom, and in order to uh serve somebody that doesn't even appreciate them. They're basically trained to be this way, and they go out into society and attract toxicity and toxic people that want to use them, you know, because of their upbringing, because that's what they've been programmed to do. And I'm happy to see people who are unlearning these things. I'm so proud. I'm happy to see that. And I'm happy that I'm also on that journey to unlearning and to being free of elder daughter syndrome. So, um, yeah, like there's a lot of people that are just not with that shit anymore. So, I think what I was thinking about was how, like, in some families, when when your father was not around, when your father was a deadbeat, there are families that expect you to still like communicate with that person. Families that might still have connections to that parent, to that parent that wasn't there, and they want you to just brush everything under the rug. You're supposed to be the forgiving daughter, you're supposed to turn the other cheek and be forgiving and all that crap. And that's a crock of shit. Okay? That's a crock of bullshit. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. You don't owe anybody anything. Like you don't owe anybody who wasn't there, who was supposed to be there for you. You don't owe them that. And you don't owe them that. So yeah, that was I'm trying to not have a brain fart here. But yeah, like, you're expected, especially because older women in the family were all indoctrinated to being of servitude and being forgiving and all of that. And I feel like that's not a thing. I refuse to pass that on to any of my children. I refuse to train them to be doormats for society, because that's essentially what you're doing when you're sitting up there and, having your daughters reach out to the absent parent and stuff like that. Like, no, unless she wants to do it herself, don't try to force her and try to convince her and suggest that she should reach out to her father. That was, yeah. Let me not let me not get into my own personal life. But you can only guess, But like this whole thing of like training daughters to just be so forgiving, I'm coming from the daughter perspective. This can happen to anybody, but I'm coming from the daughter perspective. Like training daughters to be so forgiving and to just, no, it's not fair. Like that other parent, that parent what didn't take part, they could have taken part in her in raising her and chose not to, you know? And it's like that gets me into the topic of men in general who are not available, who were not available, who were not available to raise their kids and things like that. And then they wind up alone um, in their deathbed with nothing, with nobody there for them, and they always try to tell women, oh, you know, they always try to gaslight women online talking about, oh yeah, you are, God, I'm losing my freaking oh yeah, you're gonna end up alone, whatever. And one thing that I agree with that I keep seeing a lot now is how people saying that in response to this shit or whatever, with certain men, bitter men talking about, oh, women are, you're gonna end up alone if you don't get married and all this bullshit or whatever. And in response to that, there are women that have that, or people in general that say, women are more prone to building community. Um, you know, Women are more prone to building community, and more than likely they won't end up alone. If anything, it's the men, because they've spent their entire lives chasing pussy and forsaking their kids, forsaking the community. They don't care about that stuff. They've spent like a lot of their time chasing vagina. And, once they're on their deathbed, it's like, oh, where's everybody? You made no connections. You made no connections. You made no community. You didn't genuinely give a fuck about anyone. This doesn't really apply to my personal life, but the earlier part of the points did kind of, but anyway, that's something else. But I'm just saying this because that connects, that does connect the men that are not in the children's lives, and then the expectation that those children that you weren't there for are supposed to be there for you when you're old. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay? Like they don't owe you that. They don't owe you that at all. And it bothers me that there are families who try to encourage, like, oh, you should reach out to your father and all of that. No, stop it. Stop. Like, no. So, it's like, it's nonsensical. You're teaching people to tolerate and to tolerate one-sided relationships. That's what you're teaching your children, is to tolerate one-sided relationships. If I had daughters, I have two sons, but if I had daughters, well, I'm also passing on this to them, like in case, they have daughters. We're not all repeating the same cycles of my previous family. You know what I mean? Like, I'm done with that. Like, I feel like I am one of those people who came to break generational curses. So, and that's one of them. This whole women having to be sacrificial lambs and crap, like, no, absolutely not. So I want, when my sons get married or they have anybody, whatever, I want them to treat that person not like some damn slave, like not like some fucking person that's supposed to bend over backwards for them without them doing anything. No, I want them to respect that woman that they're gonna be with. Um, yeah, because it's all passed down. It's gonna be passed down to the future generations. All of that those cycles and those toxic chains and of behavior. And I don't want that for my descendants. I don't want my descendants to be, dealing with that or whatever. So yeah, I had to throw the deadbeat dad thing in there. I guess that was an example of what daughters are trained to put up with, if they didn't have their father in their lives. And just in general, uh, daughters or eldest children or the black sheep of the family or the scapegoats of the family, it seems like they're made to just, or they're trained to just be some kind of like doormat. Like, no, bitch, no, we're not doing this. I want all the people who are in that position who can relate with this I just wish that they're living their fucking best lives now, that they don't have to, they're free of like having to serve anyone, that is not doing anything for them. or anyone who wasn't there. It's like I feel like religion also plays a part in like training us to be, so super forgiving. And I mean, you can forgive, of course, and it's a good thing as long as you're doing it for you. Um, you know, I honestly, personally, I don't just give forgiveness like, just like that. And I sleep well at night. Like it's just there's this brainwashing in place where people are like forced to, to be forgiving, and oh, it's not good. You're not gonna sleep at night. Oh, it's gonna plague you. No, it doesn't. If someone did you dirty, you don't have to forgive them. If someone did something foul to you, you don't have to give them forgiveness. There's people, if someone, there's people out here that, in these, like, where somebody gets murdered or something like that, there's people that don't forgive the murderer. Are you crazy? They don't forgive the person who murdered their loved one. They don't forgive I mean, I know that's extreme, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to. Somebody caused you abuse or anything, or neglected you. You don't have to forgive them if you truly do not want to. And you're gonna be able to sleep at night. Just don't let this society and these religions and stuff brainwash you into thinking like into thinking that you're not gonna be able to move on and you're gonna carry around toxicity if you don't forgive. Like, no, you're not. If no, you're not. You're not. It's just another tactic by religion or by society to control you. And that's it. But yeah, I went to like it's like whatever I started with like branched off into like other little topics, but whatever, yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, that was it. That's all I had to get off my chest. And ooh, okay. I don't know what I'm doing here. But yeah, let me know, if you want to talk about something else, if you want to discuss that, if be free to discuss it in the comments and I'll reply. And either to this video or the one I just recorded, the other one. But yeah, like, yeah, talk to me. All right, take care. Bye, guys.